For joining us for the morning 4321. This morning we are in Genesis chapter 34. It looks like I need to open my Bible, Genesis chapter 34, as I encourage you to do so as well. Genesis chapter 34. Thanks for joining us today. Hope everyone had a great holiday yesterday. Let's get in the Word of God. Genesis chapter 34 is just one of these stories that advances the narrative a little bit. And it tells of the family of Jacob and all of his children, in particular an event that happened to his daughter Dinah. She is raped at the very beginning of this chapter. It's not a pretty chapter. It's a very ugly chapter. Dinah is treated as an object the whole time. She is not treated as a human being. She's raped by a man who says he loves her, but he really just is in lust with her. She is treated as an object by her brother, someone to be used as well so that they can gain control, although they see themselves as people who are trying to avenge their sister. But it's a really messed up chapter. In this chapter, it begins with one of the inhabitants of the land, a man by the name of Shechem, who rapes her and takes advantage of her. Obviously, that angers the family, but Jacob doesn't want to rock the boat too much with the inhabitants of the land, so he doesn't really do anything. And that spurs his sons to want to do something. Shechem wants to marry her and wants to have ongoing relations with her as his wife, and so he and his father cut a deal with Jacob and the family that all of the people of the city will be circumcised in order that there will be a covenant between them and they'll be able to intermarry with one another. But the sons of Jacob, they are deceiving everyone during this whole process. And once everything starts happening and the covenant is enacted upon, then they go in when the men have been circumcised, and on the third day when they are sore and unable to defend themselves, two of the sons, Simeon and Levi, go into the city and they kill all of the male inhabitants of the land. And you have this really messed up situation where they're bringing vengeance, but they are also taking and plundering the city, and they walk away having benefited from this. And Jacob is there. He's unhappy with his children because he knows that they've made the situation worse for him. And it's just a messed up chapter from start to beginning. So from start to end. So guys, what do you have?
I wanted to think about the consequences of sin and deceit here in this chapter. This whole situation is really, really awful, and these two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, decide they're going to take vengeance for their sister. And the deceit that happens is, if you all circumcise yourself, then we'll let this happen. But because they circumcise themselves, then Simeon and Levi go in and they commit mass murder on all these men. This is the consequence of sin and deceit. A mass murder, and then as we look later in the book of Genesis, what we find out is because of this, Simeon and Levi's descendants aren't going to have a lot in the land. They have to live among their brethren. And I think that's a really important point for us. Sin doesn't just affect the one who is doing it. It has far-reaching consequences to other people, and I think we need to keep that in mind.
As Mark has mentioned, and Sean, this is a difficult chapter, and even so much so that it's kind of hard to even understand their motives. As I look at Simeon and Levi, I want to just really draw two applications that are kind of the same. First of all, often self-righteous anger is really a cover for more base motives. Oftentimes we say we're acting in anger in a self-righteous way. I mean, a righteous way. Mm-hmm. I said righteous way. But it really covers more base motive. But let's say they are acting in a righteous way. But righteous anger, if it's allowed to fester and is held on to and then mixed with carnal desires, often goes askew and leads in a direction that is not good. I think about Galatians chapter 5 and verse 15, where Paul just simply warns, "But if you bite and devour one another, take care that you're not consumed by one another. Do not let our anger control us, even if it is so righteously driven."
Yeah, very good, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, as always, all of you joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful day. God bless. Join us tomorrow as we get into chapter 35 of the book of Genesis.